satisfied. As I said, I want to produce more. I don't think it's in place already. I'm looking for things to. I want this lot of biomass on top of my soil. That's what I'm working to. And I just can't get it. There was a guy from Brazil a couple of years ago, and he was on my farm, and they had this a lot of organic matter on their soil. And he walked and he said, "No, this is fine for you. You will not be able to ever have this amount of organic matter because you just haven't got the rainfall, you haven't got the soil, you can't produce like they do 2 or 3 crops a year and cover crops and whatever. We can only, that's our biggest problem, we can only produce crops in the winter. That's, well, where I farm. I hardly get any southeaster summer rain. So that's the only chance you've got to produce it. And that's the biggest reason I went away from the Lucerne and Medic system. So it takes away all the chances to produce biomass. Because what actually happens, as I see it on most farms that's got Lucerne, is sometimes it's nice like that for a month or so, and that's it. Most of the time it looks like before. It just takes everything away. It goes to China with the wool, and it goes to Johannesburg with the meat, and that's it. And I said, no, I don't want that. I want to utilize this 6 months that we've got when we can produce biomass. I want to produce biomass, and it must go back into my soil, or on my soil.
Yeah, so a year like 2010, that was a very dry year for a lot of farmers. How did that affect your farm? Did you retain most of your moisture, or did you also have...
Now that was an interesting year. You see, that's the type of years you're doing this for. Now, maybe firstly I should tell you, I'm not trying to get the best yields.
Yeah.
That's not my point. There's a lot of neighbours and stuff that got much better yields some years than I have with other systems and stuff. I'm trying to get an average, a good average yield that keeps on rising. That's what I'm trying to do. A type of yield that I can make my calculations on and see, okay, I can survive, and that's the way my business is going to run and it's going to grow. Now, I found out early years when I didn't do conservation farming that it goes up like this with the Medics and with the Lucerne. Then it's up there and it's down there. If you get a dry year, the field that suffers the most is that excellent Lucerne field that you just took out. That's the warmest field. Why? There's not really biomass. It's a very warm and it's lovely. The wheat stands like that, and then September comes, and there was a 5-ton potential, and it goes down to 2 tons or 1.5 tons out of drought. I said I want to take that away. I want the 5 tons, but I'm not bargaining them. I'm saying if I can just get a 3.5, 4-ton average, but every year. Now, and that I can tell you. I'm not getting 4 tons every year, but I'm much less worried than I was 10, 15 years ago.
You got the nice
Yeah.
with that crop.
Yeah. You see the way I see it. What you have to do here, we always get a drought. The last 3 years was the best years in the area. But you will see, we will get droughts again. And some areas had drought, a little drought already this year. Now, the trick is to keep your crop in utopia. It must keep on growing, must keep its potential. And then when the drought comes, you must be able to hold on longer every year with your stubble retention. Because rain is going to come in as well. We know that. Or I know that where we live, we're lucky. We live in a very more constant area. The rain usually does come, but it might take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now we all know your yield comes and it falls, and let's say you're up to a 5-ton yield. When a drought comes, it takes away a 0.5 ton. Another drought, a 0.5 ton. Now I'm saying if I can just extend that to another 10, 14 days so that it doesn't dip, I'm better off. And that's what happens with a good conservation farming system. But then you do need a hell of a lot of biomass to really get that advantage. And so far it worked. It worked pretty well. Of course, if you get a very long drought, you will have a knock as well. I mean, if it's a dry year, I have a not so good yield as well. But I still have an average, or maybe above average, usually above average for the area. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Any problems with the not salt biomass?
Yes,
insects or slugs or so?
We do. I think most of us has been through all that, and we all know by now that it starts at harvesting and you have to do your preparation of your straw and chop it and do whatever to go through. So it's going much better than it did earlier years when we didn't know all that and we took chances and reckoned, okay, it will go through, and then it doesn't. But I think there's a lot of space for development and better. I personally like a disc seeder. I haven't got a disc seeder. I've got I plant with wash seeders. Disc seeders, we know the advantages and disadvantages. I'm not going there at the moment, but I think that is the way to go from here. I'm just looking out for the younger guys that try that, and let's see which one we should use and all that. Yeah. Wat was jou ander vraag?